this concert was the celebration of the 30th anniversary of the Rochester Gay Men's Chorus, which is amazing. I've been with the organization for 4 years now as artistic director, and I've learned lots of stories. My favorite, which I included in my letter in the program and told from the stage, is that in 1982, 5 friends got together with the idea of starting a gay men's chorus, and even to me, because barely, but I was alive in 1982 and gay in 1982, to call yourself a gay men's chorus in 1982 was ridiculously bold and brave and, amazing. So these 5 friends, and by the time the first concert rolled around, there were 18. And yes, I sat down and counted, and there are over 335 men who have sung with this group over the 30 years, which I'm a musician, so I can't count that high, but it sounds like a very big number. So in celebration of our 30th anniversary, this June concert, I'll take credit for it because it was my stupid idea. The Rochester Gay Men's Chorus was influential in starting the Syracuse Gay and Lesbian Chorus in 1991. We were influential in starting the Buffalo Gay Men's Chorus in 2001, and in starting the Ithaca Gay Men's Chorus in 2009. So I thought it would be fun. I was wrong. No, it was fun. The organizational nightmare. I thought it would be wonderful if we invited all 3 of those groups to sing with us on this concert, and so that's what we did. We invited all 3 of them, and they all foolishly said yes. But this made our marketing costs, our music purchasing, we needed extra rehearsal space and paying the staff for the rehearsals and so on and so, you know how it all is. And so this grant that was approved for us was for the music purchasing and royalties. But the concert was just wonderful. It was magical from beginning to end. To have, it was over 100 voices on the stage. We did three combined pieces. We did one piece combined just with Buffalo. Each chorus sang their own solo set, and the audience was amazing. I think it's a record-breaking audience. At least that's what our business manager had said. It was over 600, and the ovations that we received. But as I say, I mean that's all nice from an ego standpoint, as the conductor, and for my performers, for them to feel that. But just to see all of this, and thank goodness for social media. But it was an amazing day.
So again, I'm Angela Clark-Taylor from the Susan B. Anthony Institute at the University of Rochester. And over the past 3 years, we have been spearheading LGBTQI Awareness Month at the University of Rochester. And even though I don't think I have to go through the acronym, I always like to, but so lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, queer and questioning, and intersex. For a long time, we've been hoping to do better with the I, but this year we just think we did better all around, and one of those reasons was for the grant for the Community Foundation. Besides sustaining a lot of our program, it actually helped us fundraise a lot from co-sponsoring departments at the university to actually more than double our program. The buzz sort of that was created by campus and in some small press that was done by the Community Foundation, we actually increased our attendees at the event 200%. All this stuff is in the report, yes, thank you, Michael, that I passed on to Kathy. But some of the big, I guess, highlights for me were not really the event, or sort of how the campus culture changed around it by it being recognized. I'm happy to talk about the events as well. But when we first started this Awareness Month and diversity issues at the University of Rochester, I'm not sure if everyone's heard about it, but it was a big deal for us and a big push from President Seligman. They've been calling him the diversity president. And I actually feel like he's really pushed that mission forward a lot, but every once in a while, it's hard to look at diversity as a whole and multiculturalism as a whole. Everybody is so different, and intersectionalities is really about individuals, right? So sort of the LGBT stuff was getting kind of left behind on campus when this month started, so our institute made a big push for this to happen, and the President's office does print our lovely posters that we're passing around for the month, but doesn't support any of the other other funds for it until after receiving this grant. They were willing to give us some additional funds to do this too. So this was huge for us. It was huge for the President's Office and the Office of Faculty Development and Diversity. They've been big supporters. Now, other diversity groups on campus have kind of jumped on the bandwagon. The Frederick Douglass Institute. We had Richard Story. I don't know if you know, one of the big leaders for LGBT rights in Uganda, actually had to flee Uganda to come to the U.S. and was being housed here in Rochester, and they helped us to bring him in. So that was just really great to have all those different connections. Our big community connection has been Image Out, who is also one of your grantees. So that was really interesting too, to see how that developed and how that's going to continue to develop in October. One of the big things is we'd like to expand. So we do curriculum now for LGBT studies, which is really great. It's in its second year. We have clusters, which if you don't know, it's a little bit smaller than minors at the university. It's just a little way to get a taste of an issue. And now that we have that, we're really hoping that this will be something we do all year long, not something we just do in April or Gapril. I don't know to you if it seems like a small amount of money, but to us, just being able to put the Community Foundation's name and the Circle's name on our events really changed things. Well, we've been thinking a lot about next year, and we actually already got our rainbow. So every year we do a rainbow lecture now. We kind of coined that for our 25th anniversary 2 years ago after having LGBTQI Awareness Month for 1 year. We're having Kristen Wren, and she's actually a specialist in LGBT studies, but also how that plays out in student affairs and governance. So for us, she's coming to talk to students about LGBT studies in general, but also while we have her on campus, she's going to be able to talk about how important for campus government, for fundraising in higher education, so touching on all those things that matter more to upper administration while still sort of engaging the students. And we don't think we would have been able to get her until we put ourselves sort of on the map for her having a reason, that she'll gain something from coming to us too. So that will be next April, but then also for Meliora Weekend, which many people may know, we were actually able to leverage an LGBT event besides the Pride Network mixer. So we'll be having a panel of alum and current students talking about the status of LGBT issues and curriculum, which is sort of how we leverage it in, but mainly issues on campus. So in the past, we really only had like sort of a small group of very vocal supporters, whether they be allies or be part of the LGBT community. And I really felt like this year we had a lot more support. We had more students that were part of that community thinking that it was a safe and worthwhile thing to attend and support, as well as a lot more people who wouldn't probably even consider themselves allies. They would consider themselves on the very beginning of that journey, coming to things and looking for us as an informational support. But one of the things that, so Noah Dresner, who's coming to speak for us, he came to one of our events and he pointed out was that he had been to some before and that he had noticed from Pride Network and other things that there were other LGBT students there, but they weren't really, they were quiet and reserved, and we just saw a lot more couples and people holding hands and people feeling comfortable in our spaces at U of R, and that to me, I think is really a wonderful thing to see. To have, bless you, to have the president and the intercessors and people like that coming to our events, and then students feeling like still it's their campus, their safe space, their home, where they can be themselves at the same time.
Volunteer Legal Services was founded in 1981, and it was basically there was a grant of $20,000 which was given from the Legal Services Corporation to Monroe County Bar Association, and that money was given to them to try and fund a pro bono effort where they could get attorneys to help fund civil legal services for low-income people. And that just went from strength to strength, and now we're, pretty big. We have a big annual budget compared to what we had before, and we have some 1,500 attorneys on our panel, so it's pretty big. But the grant money that we received, we were able to help specifically transgender people. This is, even though we open our doors to the LGBT community generally, the money that we received was specifically used for the transgender community. So what happens there is people seeking a name change would come to us. We would screen them and make sure that they're entitled to have the benefit of our services. They have to fall within 200% or below the federal poverty income guidelines. If they do, then they will be acceptable for us to take on as a client. We would then ask them for documentation to see whether they really have a case worthy of passing on to a pro bono attorney. So the way, I mean, no money changes hands, obviously, in our organisation. It's just all pro bono effort. So we basically put the word out to our panel that there's somebody who wants some help, this is the background, and they will hopefully step forward and help. We have firms and solos from the local community that help us, lots of them. I mean, if, 1,500 is the panel. Incidentally, Nixon Peabody is a big player, and they actually do quite a few name changes. They have very experienced attorneys that will do the name change, and there's quite a lot involved. It's not a straightforward procedure, name change, because I don't think the courts are, I mean, I'm not going to say too much, but some of the judiciary are not really, well, you don't need to say, I don't need to say too much, right? and so they don't really understand, and obviously some education is required. So it's not really that straightforward, but we will certainly help them, file a petition, and if they are entitled to apply for a fee waiver, so that they don't have to pay the fee for a name change, because it's like $210 or something to file in the New York State Court. So if they can't, obviously if they're low income, they usually can't pay, so we'll try and get them a fee waiver. So yeah, VLSP, we're the only civil legal services agency in upstate New York that does this kind of stuff. So we're kind of in a privileged position. And I have hundreds of stories where we've helped transgender people and the sort of issues that they face, but it's pretty bad. I mean, you're going to get somebody who, and then there's a whole gender is, I mean, it just, I could speak all evening about the things that we encounter, and, but in a nutshell, it's, these people need help. I mean, they've got serious situations going on, and they, really, it's horrible when you hear the stories and you're like, gosh, I really want to help that person. And then, because that they're going to be up against the court and the judge isn't always going to be, well, looking on it, upon it favourably. So, we do, feel very sympathetic towards this community and try and help them as much as we can. And as I say, it's not limited to just transgender, but also to the wider LGBT group. Staff at VLSP, we have about 11, I think, and then we have like 2 interns, summer interns, and we regularly have trainings on diversity and inclusion and LGBT and all the protected classes and the less able, and we do all that stuff regularly, so our the staff that we have are very familiar with the issues that affect people, the issues that, anyone from, the staff attorney through the intake person are familiar with the issues, and we, routinely have these trainings, and we talk about issues, and we have questions and answer sessions, so, we're all very aware of the issues that come up. Each case is different. Sometimes you might need various affidavits to back up who they are, because sometimes the person can't even prove who they are.
Right.
It's really hard. So we have them cobble. I've had situations where somebody hasn't got a birth certificate, they've got nothing. So then we're kind of really down to nothing, and we're like, well, can you get your school records? Maybe maybe medical records. And you really, it's tough. If you're trying to cobble together stuff from without like official documentation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not impossible.